Hey everybody, Joey here. I just wanted to give an update because this past week celebrated 3 years post surgery and just wanted to talk about that and how everything's going in my life right now. Things are good. As far as my weight goes, I've actually gone up on the scale a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. More than I'm comfortable with. I'm about 15 pounds over what I had settled in as kind of the baseline. I was within 3 pounds up, down, but the last few months have just been crazy, just with different things, and got out of a more active routine and did not make the best decisions as far as eating and my health and all of that. So that's what's going on with that. And but recognized it. Had some bad days this past week with that. Talked it over with my wife, and I was just not happy with where I was, but recognized it and went and started to do things about it. Number one, trying to make better decisions as far as what I am eating. Number two, upping my exercise routine, trying to increase my step goal for each day and set a goal. And it took me a couple of days to hit the first goal, and then upped it again. Took a couple of days to hit the second one, and so on and so forth. But the first goal I'm trying to reach for, I've not reached it yet, is 10,000 steps a day, and then adjust from there about where we're going to go. But also realizing that I have to give myself some grace. I've talked about it before. I did not gain the weight overnight. I don't have to lose it overnight. And I am certainly in a better place than I was 3 years ago before I had the surgery, or 4 years ago getting into all of that. And that is something that the last 3 years has taught me, is to give yourself just a little grace, because you are not going to have great days all the time. You're not going to have bad days all the time. You have a mixture of both good and bad. And for your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, all the health, live in a state of grace. Give yourself a little grace. Give yourself a little freedom. If you have a bad day, that's okay. You have one bad day. I was telling somebody this, and they're like, oh, that makes total sense. I have two podcasts. One of them is a wrestling podcast, the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show, where I take a look at some of the biggest shows on the WWE network that's on Peacock now. And it came out of an earlier, smaller show that I had done, but I repurposed a lot of those episodes. I started the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show January of 2020. And when I started, I made a commitment that I would have a year's worth of episodes ready to record. That if I didn't watch one other show, didn't take any notes, I had a year's worth of shows to go. But I was still taking notes, and I took notes and take notes on a yellow legal pad, a double yellow legal pad. It has 100 pages, and it's three stapled, not three staples, three hole punch along the left side. Excuse me, got confusing. And I take my notes first thing in the morning, make my coffee, and then I take notes for my podcast. And March of 2020 hit when everything shut down with the pandemic. I was in the middle of taking notes for a show. And I quickly realized with everything that's happening, I'm trying to send students home in 24 hours, buying boxes everywhere, making sure people get things done, scrambling, just all the craziness. I'm like, I got to put the notes on hold for a while. So set that notebook to the side, and I had taken about a half a page worth of notes. I noticed after a few days that the corners started to curl up. And then after about a week, even more, and it just got this used look, and the paper started to feel, after about a month, a little brittle. And I'm sure, it was there for about 6 to 8 weeks without me touching it. It was just over in the corner. And I'm sure that if the pages were not already yellow, that I would have seen it yellow. And when I do my trainings, when I lived in Maine, I did most of the trainings. I would tell the residents, I told them one year, I said, think about every single day as a page in a notepad. You get to the bottom of the page, just like you get to the end of the day, whether it's good or bad, do not hold on to that day. Flip it over, go to the next day. Otherwise, you'll see that. Just like your life will start to curl at the edges because you're thinking constantly about all the bad decisions you made, or maybe you had a great day and all the great things that happened. Okay, but Wednesday could have been the best day in your life. Oh, it's nice to think back and remember that from time to time, but Thursday's going to come and Friday's going to come. You see what I'm talking about? So take each day as it is. So if you have a bad day mentally and you stress eat, me, right here, this guy. Okay, you had a bad day, think about it. Go back the next day and don't beat yourself up over it. Just go back to what you were doing. Eating healthy, drinking more water, upping your step count, or changing up your exercise routine. Give yourself some grace. So live in that moment of grace, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be food or, gaining weight or what have you. Whatever it is, give yourself some grace. All right? So that is the message 3 years post gastric bypass surgery. That's just some thoughts of mine. We're going to take it a day at a time. All right? JoeyHarrisComedy@gmail.com. If you like this video or podcast, I'm going to also release it as a podcast. Like and subscribe. And if you're listening to the podcast, leave a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your fine podcasts. I would appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and make sure that you click the bell. You'll get notified every time a video drops. I hope you all are well. At The Joey Harris on all social media. If it's social media and I'm on it, I'm at The Joey Harris. Thank you so much. Have a great day.